Dear white people.
Dear average race baiter, white person here.
In between my busy schedule comprised entirely of surviving white America,
You seem to be surviving just fine.
there is simply no time to write letters.
You certainly have enough time to wallow in self-pity while allowing a global population of over 1 billion people, most of whom you've never met, to live in your head rent-free.
Besides, any letter I write will most likely bring tears to your eyes.
Your letter reads like the Tumblr ramblings of a hormonal teenager crying for attention.
And I, for one, have had my fill of white tears.
I don't care for your self-pity. Please feel sorry for me. It's like when I was 8 and wrote cringy notes to guilt-trip my parents after getting in trouble.
There are days I think you aren't worth my ink.
But we're worth your entire spot in slam poetry night.
Let me assure you, I am black, though there are plenty of things I'm not, like your sassy black friend. Stop saying, hey girl, when you see me.
Yes, so deep, man.
Like how I wish my toes could touch the ocean without stepping on the bones of my ancestors.
Oh my God, you stepped on the How?
And for the love of God, stop swiveling your heads every time slavery is mentioned. Newsflash, I wasn't there.
Wait, but you just said you stepped on the bones of your ancestors, but you weren't there. So how does that work?
Dear white people, stop making everything about you and how uncomfortable you are. I honestly don't give a flying about your comfort level. You have made my very existence an exercise in discomfort.
All right, race baiters. Crazy thought, I know. But maybe, just maybe, pinning all the world's problems and your personal shortcomings on one race makes you the racist. Oh, wait, right, I forgot, sorry. Since we rewrote the dictionary in recent years, Webster's says racism only applies to one group of people, and because I'm a member of said group, I'm not supposed to ask any questions. You know, being a person of privilege and all, we gotta know our place, and
it is time for you to make room at the table. Better yet, go sit in the living room.
Who am I to talk? I'm just a white colonizer. And your host of Woke of the Week with MRC-TV and Culture, Justine Brooke Murray. It's beyond time for an open letter to all the race baiters and virtue signalers who think those of us who do not toe their thin line of dogmatic nonsense should be expelled from polite society. Dear media pundits, politicians, pop stars, the P. Diddy types, you overpaid academic types, the 20-year-old he-she's and horse for Hamas, and all who have appointed yourselves as our moral leaders. We've had enough of your forced DEI trainings which say more about the desperate need to make everything about your own persecution or guilt complex than it does about the
bad white people.
You lecture. Dear entitled airlines passenger.
It's everywhere. If I was white in a suit, you would stop the plane.
TikTok influencers.
Name your favorite 3 black people.
HR directors and smug educators who think you have the authority to bore us with your unsolicited TED Talks about why an entire population has wronged you simply because they exist. Your constant lecturing says more about your pathetic victimhood fetish than it does about an entire society of people you think owes you something. In the name of anti-racism, you've made our society more race-fixated than Joy Reid to blonde hair. We're all barefoot with anxiety and walking on the broken glass of guilt and accusations to the point where we're damned if we say anything and we're damned if we don't. Seeing color is racist. But not seeing color is also racist.
Telling me you don't see race is the racist drivel I hope you choke on.
Which is why you say we must hire people based on race. That certain people need to pay reparations because of the color they were born with. That only some victims of natural disasters, poverty, illnesses, and the hardships of life matter. You say we're supposed to have conversations about race, but only people ranked high enough on the totem pole of intersectionality are allowed to speak on it.
Why do you listen to Tim Wise over actual black people about the black experience?
But when we pass them the mic, you called that racist.
And just because I'm the only black person in this class doesn't mean you can ask me to speak on behalf of my race.
You told us to trade in our ethnocentric Western way of life for more diverse and enriching cultures. But when we embrace them, you charge us with cultural appropriation.
But I'm looking at
not
I'm
everything
looking
has to
at
be
these
traditional.
two guys. No, but then there's also an issue of cultural appropriation. There's an issue of taking something that's very distinctly Asian in its identity and quote unquote making it better, which I have an issue with.
Who cares what the facts are, as long as you can throw the word racism at any incident you choose? Fiery but mostly peaceful mobs will be granted the authority to torch our small towns for the months to follow, as the legacy media neatly packages your summer of love into a brave fight for civil rights. It doesn't matter if those looted mom and pop shops were owned by minorities, or if the innocent people whose windows they smashed were just as woke.
Why are you on your side?
Innocent diners deserve to be surrounded by Maoist mobs simply because of how they're perceived, too comfortable in our world and not adequately virtue signaling enough to be permitted to walk the streets. If we didn't post a black square on our Instagram in 2020, we were publicly reprimanded. If we did, we were publicly reprimanded for feigning support. All while our virtuous anti-racist overlords, whom we weren't allowed to criticize, spend the millions of dollars they fleeced from their guilty liberal followers on their lofty castles in the Hamptons. You've campaigned to get everyday Americans fired from their jobs, kicked out of school, and canceled from life for refusing to regurgitate your pop culture ordained mantras on racism and bigotry. But when the same members of those oppressed identity groups you champion hold a campus rabbi and 20 Jewish students at gunpoint— oh, by the way, did anyone hear about that 2 weeks ago? Oh, wait, right. Jews are all white. So that's now anti-racism.
If a white cop kills a black person, they will get paid leave, and that is what we call justice.
This guy would like a word. In the name of justice, it's also socially acceptable now to randomly stab, punch, mob white women because they deserved it. In the name of equality, you've recreated the scenes out of 1960s Louisiana where lynch mobs blocked students from entering their classrooms.
I'm a UCLA student. I deserve to go here. We pay tuition. This is our school, and they're not letting me walk in.
Resisting racism means suggesting on live TV that you'd rape and torture Jewish women to death.
And I grow up under that oppression and that poverty, and the wall comes down. Am I also strong enough? Or even constructed in such a way where I say, this is too far? I don't know that I am.
Questioning that makes us the bigot, subject to a network-wide struggle session and threats of firing. Not the guy who admitted he'd participate in the worst pogrom of Jews since the Holocaust, now. And when the individuals you claim to champion oppose your race-baiting vitriol, you call them an
Uncle Tom. I believe you really care about the opinion of black students when you stop shutting down conversations because I call a white student racist.
Why are you so afraid to have your narrative challenged that you immediately use racism as a clutch to shut down any conversation?
Dear white people, why do you hate being called racist more than you hate racism?
Dear race baiter, if everything is racist, nothing is. That wraps today's episode. Make sure you tune into my show every week where I bring you the left's most insane moments and expose their latest attempts to weaken the West. Then hit the like on YouTube, plus on Rumble, follow us on social media, comment below what you think, and don't cave to the leftist media agenda. If you like the work we do here at MRC, please consider donating at mrc.org/donate. It's the best way to help our movement. Thanks for joining us.